Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we are diving into the dependencies and post configurations for running a production-grade Azure function. Dependencies are the other Azure resources which are required to create before we create a Azure function. By the end of this video, you'll have a solid understanding of which resources required to create a production level Azure function and what is their importance. You'll also learn which resources are mandatory to create and which are optional and must have in any Azure function. First thing first, we need to have a subscription and you need to log in to Azure using the Azure CLI. For this, please refer to the video 3 ways to create service principal and secrets to log into Azure using the Azure CLI. You'll find this video in the information pop-up above and I'll put it into the description as well. Also, if you want to log into Azure using the service principal and certificate instead of a secret, then you will follow another video that now I'll put it into the pop-up, but also you can see it into the description. Once we are done logging, we are good to start. The first thing we need to create is a resource group inside the subscription. Resource group is kind of an organizer in which all the Azure resources are created. You can consider it as a box in which resources are kept. There are multiple resource groups that you can create in a single Azure subscription. Second resource we need to create is a virtual network and a subnet inside it. We'll integrate this subnet to the function that we'll be creating next. But why do we need it? Your Azure function need to access the private resources like databases or APIs within the VNet. You can use this VNet integration to route traffic through the VNet. This ensures that your function can securely communicate with the resources that are not exposed to the public internet but are present in your VNet. Next, for the log analysis and tracking all the logs from your Azure function, we need to create log workspaces and application insights. Log workspaces is used to centralize logging, storing, and querying logs generated by your Azure function. You can use Azure monitoring to gain insights into the execution of the function, track the performance and metrics, and also set up alerts based on the specific condition and threshold. May it be your Azure function, how many times it ran, how many times it failed, how much time it takes to completely run. We'll also explore this topic in depth in the upcoming videos. After this, we'll need to create a managed identity. This identity will be attached to the Azure function, which will allow us in the future to authorize other Azure resources like Azure Cosmos DB, which is a database in Azure. This identity will act as the authorizer for our Azure function and we'll be able to get access to other Azure resources using this identity. In the upcoming videos, we'll also see how to connect this Azure function to Cosmos DB using this managed identity, and maybe we'll try to read and write some data in this Cosmos DB and do this experiment. Next, we need to create a storage account. Again, why do we need it? Why do we need a storage account while we are creating a Azure function? The deployment and the runtime artifacts of our Azure function app, such as the function code, the configurations, the dependencies, these are all stored in the storage account. Hence, we need to have a storage account first, and this is kind of mandatory. Then, the most important thing to create is the app service plan. The app service plan allows us to allocate resources like CPU, memory, disk space for hosting our Azure function. The app service plan defines infrastructure resources that are reserved for the function app and ensure that it has necessary computational power to handle the expected workloads. You can share the resources of your service plan to multiple Azure functions. That eventually means that you can create multiple Azure functions in a single app service plan. These are all 8 resources that are good to have while you're running your Azure function in production environment. But not all these 8 services are mandatory to create. Maybe in the lower environment while you are testing, you need only two mandatory resources to create. One is a resource group and second is a storage account. Rest 6 resources are optional but must be used to run any production level Azure function. Now we are all set to create the Azure function. Once the Azure function is created, there are few post-deployment configurations that we need to perform, like environment variable which are used inside the Azure function source code to execute any particular logic. Let's consider you have multiple environments like development, SIT, UAT, and production, and you need to have specific environment related variables to send to the Azure function in each of the environment. You can use this feature to send the environment variable to the Azure function so that it will act accordingly. Second configurations that you need to do is to secure the access restriction of your Azure function. I hope now you understand in depth what are the prerequisites to create the Azure function. For the next upcoming videos, we'll learn to create each and every resource in the list to create the Azure function step by step. The best way to learn and become an Azure DevOps professional is by practicing. You must start today and do hands-on with me. Please go through the Azure login videos that I have given in the description below and keep your development environment ready and logged into the Azure. Please write any comments, questions, or feedbacks that you have. It really helps me to create better content for the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so that you'll be notified for the upcoming videos. Thank you.